Hello all, I hope you're doing well. We're continuing with our weekly portion review. This week we are in the portion of Vayera, and he saw. Right, this is post Abraham's circumcision. He is sitting in the tent, and he is by the oaks of Mamre in the heat of the day, hoping to see visitors. And of course, three visitors approach him. We have the famous story of the destruction of the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, and Abraham's pleas to God, the dramatic escape of Lot and his family, the birth of Isaac. We have the expulsion of Hagar and the story with her son Ishmael, and of course the binding of Yitzchak, Isaac himself. Now, what I want to focus on today is this actual trial, right? This test that Abraham is going through, but this is really a dual trial, both of Abraham and Isaac. And how is this the actual case? Now, we have to really distinguish between the inner worlds of these two titans, really, these two figures. Now, Abraham, right, he was the embodiment of chesed, really loving and kindness, or sometimes used as grace. And his entire spiritual orientation was to recognize that Hashem was the giver of life, right? He is the one that brings things into existence. He gives us, with his enormous generosity, there's this beautiful overflow of abundance to this world. And for such a soul like of Abraham's to command to offer his loved son as a sacrifice was obviously almost incomprehensible for Abraham. I would even say contradictory, right? This is not the God I understand or have a relationship with, so to speak. And how could someone who gives life now demand it in return? And we could see that in Genesis 22, verse 1, it actually says, and God, or it says Elohim, right, which is, as we've spoken about, the name of strict justice or nature, right, tested Abraham, right? And Abraham here is the challenge was to reconcile that these two divine faces, chesed, right, and din, right, and justice, mercy and justice work together. He had to accept that the same God who gives life could also ask for it back, and to trust that behind even the harshest decree of God lies ultimately there's a divine love over there. Now for Isaac, by contrast, his soul was of gvura, of discipline, of inner strength, of awe, and this spiritual nature saw the world through the lens of justice, of din, that every gift ultimately demands a corresponding offering, right? That the true service to Hashem must ultimately be to include the readiness to offer oneself to God, right? I was a gift, and now it only makes sense to return the gift. And from Isaac's point of view, the Akedah, right, the offering of Isaac was not a test at all. It was actually the natural culmination of his path. Right? I was a miracle child, and it only makes sense that I'll be taken away in a dramatic way as well. And to give everything back to Hashem was not an act of terror, but actually an act of truth. But even when Isaac is faced with this trial, not at the beginning, but at the end, we understand that he too is dealing with this trial. And when the voice from heaven is calling out, right, don't lay your hand on the boy, his test actually began, right? Could he accept that life itself, with all its imperfections, was actually holier than the classic mystic yearning for total, for sacrificing yourself totally into God's life, being one with Him, like we know what happened with Aaron's sons, right? They participated in this very holy act, but they were burnt because of this. Now, in that moment, right, when Isaac hears that cry, he learns that the highest service to God is not actually to die for God, but it's to live for God. And in our generation as well, we are also standing at this modern akedah, this modern sacrifice. We have seen our sons and our daughters placed upon this altar, and young lives given to the defense of the people of Israel. We have shattered dreams, and there is a profound loss. But like Avraham, right, we are tested in our faith, right? We trust that Hashem, who gave us life and the land, still guides history with sometimes even hidden love. And like Isaac, we are tested in restraint, We have to keep on living. We have to keep on rebuilding. And we have to keep on sanctifying life, even after the knife, so to speak, has been taken out, or at least put on our neck. And the true covenantal heroism of our time is not only found on the battlefield, but it's actually in the quiet rebuilding that follows, in the parents who plant trees again, in communities that rise from the ashes and build their homes again, in soldiers who return home and build families and teach Torah and bring light to the world that is still trembling. And the Akedah teaches us so, and the sacrifice really teaches us that survival is sacred, that the continuation of Israel's story after trial and loss and sacrifice is itself the victory of divine life over despair ultimately. And through our courage to live, we really reveal a faith deeper than death, right? That Am Yisrael Chai, the people of Israel live. And through living, ultimately we will be a blessing to all the nations. Shabbat Shalom.